of our funding.
That's why I would like to see a study, an accurate study done. Let's just take Bartow County, because I agree 100% with you. I mean, I've made the statement that if we go back in history and look at when our public education was the best in the world, you go back to the 30s and 40s, because these are the guys, this is the system that produces scientists that put men on the moon. Okay? We were the envy of the world. What was different then than there is now is the teachers had the ultimate authority in the classroom. The teachers had the flexibility on their curriculum. The teachers could move that class in the way that they needed to go. The teachers had the authority to discipline. The teachers determined whether a child passed or failed, not some obscure test that's created in a Gold Dome or in Washington, D.C. Teachers were given the authority. That's where we've got to get. The problem, we can't get there because of federal mandates and controls. After meeting with Michael Hunnicky, who works in the Department of Education and has also worked in the school system here, I really would like to see a study done is what is the cost of all the federal mandates that's put on this school system as it equates to the amount of money that we're receiving. I mean, what's the cost of us doing all the mandates?
It probably costs us more to meet the mandates than the amount
exactly,
we're getting.
that's right.
Actually, John Barge has done some research on that, and that is what he found.
And that's what we need to do is say, okay, at what point are we going to step up and just say, okay, we're not going to take the federal funding, which relieves the handcuffs and gets rid of the red tape, but it's going to take a school system that has really a fortitude to step up and say, we're going to take this. It may take a hit in a year, but if we can reduce that cost of complying with all these federal mandates, we may be spending this just, hypothetically say we're spending $20 million meeting these mandates for $5 million of funding. I mean, that's just hypothetical numbers, but I have a feeling that a lot of our school systems, now you get to some rural school systems, it's going to be the opposite. They receive a lot more federal funding, smaller systems, but I think in some of our systems, North Metro, we may see that there will be cost savings to get out from under No Child Left Behind.
Can a county get out? Well, I know we are out from under as a state, No Child Left Behind, but we still have a lot of regulations we are under. Is it possible by law for a county to get out of it without the state getting out of it, though?
I don't know why not. It's all tied to federal funding.
Well, see, what I hear is that, so instead of like us trying to move forward in that way, we're just going to go out and start funding charter schools.
Well, it's not that we're going to go out and start funding charter schools. It's just doing the way that we've been doing it for 10 years. Is the thing is this 1162 just keeps things the way that they are now, and so.
Well, and it's not, in my opinion, it's not an either or. It's you do all of it at the same time. It's like if Rudy wants to go out and build a subdivision, he doesn't just do, one piece of the project at a time. He's got all those parts going at the same time, so houses get built and people buy them. And so I don't think you just go and just do charter school funding at the state level, or just find ways to get rid of federal handcuffs on teachers. I think you find ways to do it all. And you don't say, that's a good idea, that one's not, because I don't like that one. You say, I don't know everything, but I think some of these, all these have some good aspects. Let's see how we can make them all move forward and get a better result in the end.
This might clear something up about this. You're not going to be starting charter schools. What happens is a group gets together and decides to go start a charter school, and they go to their local system first. And if they're turned down, their option is to go to the state. So the state isn't, correct me if I'm wrong, you're not going out and starting a bunch of schools. You're just an extra place for these groups to go to. So it sounds like, it sounds like everybody thinks you all are going to start schools, but that's not what's really happening here, right?
Right.
Okay.
This gentleman had a question earlier on.
Just an observation. We're talking about $9,200 a year per student. That a population of 20 students per class, $180,000 forever per year, and you're saying it's failing based on your conversations with industry, and you're saying you can't fix it. So is it totally hopeless?
No, I'm not saying that we can't fix it, and I'm not saying that the systems are failing. The systems statewide, when we look at it, we're not making the grade. I don't think you can say I'm getting my money's worth out of the investment we're making, and a lot of that is because of the red tape. I mean, what percentage of that $9,200 goes to administration versus the focus on the child? I think we have developed a system that is system-centric instead of child-centric.
Well,
It's
yeah.
what we've got to.
Exactly, so
And
the system
there is
feed on itself, it's never gonna stop.
Right, what Christian and I are saying is, we have to be multifaceted in how we address this problem. It isn't just, well, let's do this and it fixes the problem. I mean, charter schools addresses one portion of the problem, especially in areas where you have major failing schools, such in the Atlanta area. I mean, that are really.
Charter schools are gonna be no better than public schools if you have the same math going into it.
Well, the charter schools have more flexibility because they're released from a lot of this red tape. And that's basically showing that
The
How
red
did
tape
this
equals
bill, how did it all
expense.
come about? I mean, what started this bill?
Well, what started this bill was the Supreme Court ruling that the state could not provide funding.
Couldn't do what it's been doing.
What it's been doing for 10 years. So all this is responding to keep things that, as they are now. It's not going to produce more charter schools. As she was saying, it's the same process. All we're doing is saying the Supreme Court overstepped its bounds. They made a poor ruling out of the Constitution. All we're doing is making an adjustment. We're making a proposed adjustment to the Constitution to let the people of the state determine.
Right. And if it does, I'm gonna have to leave the thing. But if the state funds it, I mean, I understand that the state is not, popping up charter schools. But what is gonna happen is charter schools are gonna start popping up everywhere. And I feel like the state's gonna have to fund them.
Well, I guess I would ask is, why would they pop up at a greater rate than they have in the last 10
Because of what
years?
you just said, that all these industries are wanting these students of a certain educated level, and they're not getting in the public school system, so that's why we need charter schools.
Am I missing something? I must be missing.
I must be missing something.
No. It seems to me like what you guys are telling us is that the people who live in Georgia will get an opportunity to vote on this, yea or nay.
That's right.
Is that right?
Right.
So there's nothing been, first of all, we can't talk about funding something when the Georgia public hadn't voted for it, yea or nay. And then it sounds like there's a fear of what the Georgia public wants. I mean, it sounds to me like
No, it's not,
what I'm saying
I don't
is,
feel what the public wants, it's just, I was just wanting to voice my opinion with them as to how I see it, or what will happen.
Well, and I think that you have a very valid concern, and it's a concern that frankly has been incorporated into the language of the proposed amendment, because we don't want to have the perception that we're going to be gutting public zip code schools in favor of online schools or specialty schools or any kind of special schools that can be created or that have already been created in the state. And I don't have a bit of problem with the discussion. I'm very happy to have the discussion, comfortable with it. There's not a problem with me on the whole issue of let's figure out the best way to do it. But I think to Reverend Coomer's point, we have to, we can't tell you what's going to happen, whether there's going to be 1,000 new charter school applications or not. But that's what I was saying earlier. If there are, and we can't afford it, we won't fund them.
Okay, Christian, they were talking about, driving up here, talking about in Gwinnett County, that they are creating a large charter school over there. Is that correct?
No, they already have it.
Yeah.
It's already there.
And does the state fund that? And as far as the location of those schools, when you say the money falls to kid, so if they go down here to the designated supermarket down here, and we start up a charter school, does the money that flows to the child, if they go down there and remodel that building, the state pays for how that building, separate utilities, separate administration system, how does it